Hey y'all, it's Mackenzie, also known as M to the Third, and today I'm doing something a little different on a Thursday instead of a making vlog because it is a holiday. My week has just been a little busy, so I've done making, but I haven't taken a lot of videos. So on Tuesday, I uploaded part 1 of answering your questions from Instagram, and I'm doing this little intro to do part 2. So this is going to go up on Thursday, which is July 4th, so American holiday. July 4th isn't my favorite holiday because I've got dog, and she hates it. And on top of that, part of why I've been so busy is that we're also dog sitting another friend's dog, and he's been great. He's like super chill. He's a little corgi. But the fireworks at night are still like every day for the past maybe like 8 days since like last Thursday. Every night from like 7 or 8 until 10 or 11, they just sporadically go off, just people I think setting off their own ones. So again, Georgie's great, but Maple just, yeah, I've been like, my evenings are basically totally taken up by panicked dogs. So I'm hoping that once the 4th is over, it'll settle down, but I feel like it's not going to be until after the weekend. All that to say, this is answering your questions part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go check it out. I also wanted to jump in here to say thank you to everyone who ordered Mezcla from my website. Mezcla is this really special yarn base that I naturally dye. It's marled, and it's very symbolic of sort of the binaries that I walk or navigate, I guess, in my life. And yeah, it's a really special base for me. If you want to check out photos of it knit up and of the different colors that I dye, I'll put a link down below to the description. It's every skein that people buy helps me out as a little small business. Just like the few orders that I've gotten so far, which have been like amazing, have helped me buy more dyes, buy more yarn, so that I can continue to grow just little by little. So yeah, that just feels really amazing that, you know, the support that I've gotten allows me to just, you know, keep expanding. So I'm laying a bunch of bricks down for continuing to grow my business. I have, again, I mentioned some exciting collabs, and those are coming to fruition. So yeah, I'm just going to keep making, and again, I'm just like very grateful for your support. If you haven't yet, click that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Like this video. And yeah, here's part 2 of answering your questions. What is your favorite resource for natural dyeing? Let me grab them. Okay, I have 2 books that I've used a lot for natural dyeing. And I'll link them both below down. I will link them both in the description. One is The Modern Natural Dyer. And this is by my former boss, Christine Vijar. And so I worked at A Verb for Keeping Warm, which is the store that she owns in Oakland, California, from like September 2013 until 2015, like spring. So just under 2 years. But the time that I was working there was the time that she was writing that book. So, you know, I saw a lot of the behind the scenes and heard a lot of the discussions, and I know how much effort went into the book and what she was trying to accomplish and how different it is from other things on the market. So that's been a really valuable resource for me, as well as working there. And so I definitely recommend that one because it's project-based, and I think her descriptions are very accessible. So that's one. The other one is this little guy, which I will also link down below. I got this from Botanical Colors. And I don't know much about Jenny Dean in particular, but this is organized by color. So, you know, you can go to the yellow if you're trying to find yellow, and red if you're trying to find red. And this deals with whole dye stuffs and a little bit of extracts. And Christine's book really deals with extracts kind of exclusively. I guess not exclusively. There's some whole dye stuff in there, but yeah, so both of those books have helped me a lot in my kind of dyeing journey, as well as talks by Brooke, who runs Sincere Sheep, and a online video series by Dagmar that really also helped me a lot, and just different YouTube videos. So those are my best resources, and if you're curious about natural dyeing, I would definitely give it a shot. There's a lot of stuff that most of us have as pantry staples that can work as for natural dyes, and I think it's just a fun experimentation with color. Okay, so I love this first one. So, okay, I'm gonna start answering this first one by just explaining that if you know me in person, and have followed me for a long time, you'll know that I am a big fan of menstrual cups. And I even have a little menstrual cup tattoo right there. Let's see. Yep, totally. And so someone asked, sorry if this is TMI, but what are the pros and cons of using a menstrual cup? I love talking about menstrual cups. I have for like forever. Obviously, I have one tattooed on me. So, I mean, the pros are that you buy one and it lasts for like minimum 10 years. And, you know, most people start with like the smaller size, and then after a certain age / after having children, you can move to the bigger one. Hi. You're making a lot of noise down there. I think they're great because, right, you only buy one, you wash it and sanitize it, and then you're ready to go for the following month, or following cycle. Tampons always leak for me, and my Diva cup does not. On the first couple of days, I'll wear like a reusable cloth pad with it, just in case, but really, I like don't have that problem. And you can leave it in for longer, and you don't have to worry about toxic shock syndrome. Yeah, I've been using it for like 10 years now, and using different ones. But yeah, I just really, I'm an advocate for them. There are definitely cons though. If you don't like inserting stuff in yourself, then obviously it's not a good option. If you are like, have a very small like vaginal opening, then it can be uncomfortable to get in. You can put a little bit of water-based lube around the brim to help it go in easier. But there's also the hard part also is that there are a bunch of different companies making different sizes and lengths and hardnesses of the plastic. So if one doesn't work, it's very possible that another one will work, but it's a big investment to figure out if it works, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've tried several, and one of them that worked for me initially now doesn't work. It's like too hard, and it actually like hurts when I put it in. So that's one of the cons, is like kind of finding the right fit for something that's like that personal. And the second thing is that if you do have to change it like in public, it can be kind of a pain in the butt, because you basically have to wash it out, and you blood everywhere, and it's really cool. So that's definitely a con. But if you haven't tried it and you're curious, I would definitely say to try it out. I'll put a link again below if you want to try one. What is something
self-imposed, you're aware has been limiting you, but you haven't broken past it yet. You know, for a long time, like, I've been wanting to do what I'm doing right now, which is doing YouTube videos, selling yarn, putting myself into a product and being able to make money off of that. And I think I put this stress on myself to be doing things the quote unquote right way, which, you know, meant going to undergrad, graduating, going to grad school, getting an office job. And I think it's unfortunate that it took all of that time and money, because student loan debt is such a tragedy, to get to a point where I was like, I cannot imagine myself in a 9-to-5 job not doing something creative. And so to some extent, I feel like I am in the process of overcoming these, what did you say, self-imposed limits. So I really do feel like I'm in the process of just being like, look, like, I don't have money. I'm not making money right now. I'm really, really hoping that this is going to pay off. And I haven't had money, and just like kind of coming to peace with that knowledge and relationship to money. And I think in that it's going to work out. And I'm also trying to be aware of the privilege that I have to be able to be in this position, to have a partner who is working full time, to have help from parents. And, you know, it's hard. Like, I go through waves where I'm like, yes, I am definitely doing the right thing for myself. I'm really glad I'm doing this. And then I'll, you know, go to the next step, which is like, what am I doing with my life? And I'm like a failure. So, you know, it's a tough thing, but I think I'm like in the process of working through those limitations. My favorite thing about being femme, I just think femme aesthetic is like amazing. I think that femininity for so long has been synonymous with weak and, you know, almost, what's the word I'm looking for? The people who inspired me when I was coming out as queer were femmes, and I did experiment with gender expression, but I was also very into feminism and learning about feminism, and it just made total sense that within the queer community there was such a... I mean, there's a lot of things about identifying as femme, identifying as lesbian, and I identify as a femme queer woman, and I just saw how much of a badass these femmes were, and it just like resonated with me to, you know, hold on to femininity as something powerful and strong, and to not let that limit myself and my experience within the queer community. So I think I just love the community that it forms, and that it allows femininity to be like a strong, sexy, powerful thing. So the very last question that I have really struck a chord with me and made me feel very emotional. So thank you, Danielle, for asking. So his question was, does fiber art make you feel connected to your ancestors / relatives? And in what way? I've been thinking a lot about my like multiple ethnic identities, and you know, I am Mexican American, and I think I feel the strongest connection to that because, like, in general, people feel the strongest to their, you know, their most oppressed identities are the most salient. And I think what really set me apart and makes me feel connected to my mom's side of the family is food, and I grew up with that extended family being really close to me, and I'm still very close with my grandma and mom and aunt. And so I really identify strongly with that, and I know that I'm also, descendants of English colonizers and Irish colonizers, and also descendant of native peoples in like the Baja California region. And for me, I definitely see that creativity has been passed down. Like my mom and grandma are both extremely creative, and I feel very blessed that we can talk about creativity and talk about business, and I do feel connected to our lineage and ancestors through that creativity. So I feel very, grateful for that. And when I think about it, put in this way, I feel sad because I guess I feel sad for two reasons. One is that I am a result of colonization, and my existence is colonized because my parents in and of themselves are Mexican and, Anglo descent of some sort. And, that in and of itself is like, coming from colonization. And when I have asked about our family's history and native ancestry, the story is told through being colonized. So a story of a couple of great grandmothers on both my mom's maternal side and paternal side that were, bought by men who are much older, married to pirates, and so that's sort of the lens in which I've learned all of this. And so I feel like I can't learn. Like there's not really a way for me to learn oral traditions because a lot of the smaller indigenous groups in Baja, Mexico have been completely wiped out. And on top of that, there's obviously a language barrier for me speaking English, them speaking Spanish, and indigenous languages. And so it just feels really, it makes me feel bereft of this knowledge, especially as I learn more about ancestral knowledge and indigenous knowledge. And I feel lucky that people are writing about it and talking about it and refusing to assimilate, and that I can be part of conversations about it. Yeah, and I guess I also feel grateful that there are stories being told of urban Native Americans, and they're, just like there's stories that are more similar to mine that are being told and validated as a specific experience. And so all of this to say is that I do feel connected through, certain knowledges that feel more inherent to me, like making and being creative. And at the same time, I just wish I had more ways to connect to my longer past ancestors. It's tough because I don't want to ignore the colonizer within and and just what does that mean? Obviously I'm super light-skinned, and that comes from both sides for various reasons. And yeah, it's just it like is empowering to be able to learn about certain aspects of indigenous knowledge, ancestral knowledge, and disempowered to know that I couldn't, I'm just like a product. I was dropped here, and that's like another element of privilege. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation, and I feel very grateful that I'm as close to my grandma and my mom as I am, and that we can have conversations and relate on creative levels. That's really a blessing. So I guess that's what I'm going to stick with, and just keep thinking about all of this, which I already have been, trust me. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.